Hi guys, so I started a book yesterday and I started it at work and then I got through a big portion of it at work and can't film an update at work. So currently I'm reading Lavinia and I am 120 pages in, so I'm about like halfway through. I just wanted to share some thoughts that I had. Basically, I think that is pretty good. It's definitely keeping me interested. The writing style, though, is actually pretty good. I feel like I've read something from her before, but I can't remember what it was. But the prologue was definitely intriguing, and it was definitely a great hook. But there's no chapter splits. It just runs on, and I think it could be better if it was split up into chapters, because we're getting like what seems like first person, like omniscient perspective of her from like after the events happen, but then we're also like in the moment we're getting that perspective from her as well. So the no chapters thing is fine, and every time like the perspective shifts even a little bit, we get a new paragraph. But sometimes, and generally, like the splits and everything happen at good places, like places where it would make sense. It makes sense. It's okay to do such a thing. But other than that as well, sometimes it's kind of confusing as well. But other than that, it's pretty good. I'm close to halfway through. I'm close to halfway through. I think my Goodreads is like 43%. Something like that. So I'm just gonna keep reading this, chugging along in this today, my shift, and then afterwards I'm doing a reread of And I Darken, which I read this back in like high school, something like that. And I'm just debating on whether or not to like get rid of the physical book and put it on my Kindle, or keep the physical books, because I have the whole series. But yeah, I recently took a bunch of books into a secondhand bookstore and did book buyback, so that way I can just get those books on my Kindle later, because yes, I love having a big library, but I'm not going to be around forever living with my family, and I want to move, and I kind of want to move overseas. So yeah, I can't bring like 700 books with me across the ocean. So yeah, I also have a Kindle now, so it's like I probably need to use my Kindle more than what I'm using it. But yeah, that's the update. Today's the day after Valentine's Day, by the way. So the plot of Lavinia actually kind of fits a little bit with the whole love Valentine's Day theme. But I've been talking for over 4 minutes now, so I'm gonna go, and I will see you hopefully when I finish this book. Bye guys. Alright, hi guys. It is the next day. And I did finish Lavinia last night. So let me unzip my jacket pocket and give you my thoughts. So continuing from yesterday, like the no chapter changes got a bit confusing, especially when Virgil and Aeneas both offered a little bit of like they were the speaker for like a paragraph or two, and it jumped back and forth a little bit. And like when they were telling tales of like the different things that happened and everything like that, it was really cool. It was an interesting perspective with Lavinia and telling the story of the end of the Aeneid through Lavinia versus telling it through Aeneid, or looking at all the different perspectives that Virgil had. At the end, it ended on more of an omniscient point of view, and it was like Lavinia like becoming immortal, but kind of made it seem like a ghost, a bit of a ghost, which was interesting. It was a little confusing. I was still able to keep up with like the major plot points, but like it was a little confusing. The theme throughout the story was like that she would be immortal while everyone around her died, but it was a little confusing in that aspect. Like, did she end up as a ghost? Because she made it seem like she was living on as a ghost. And it leaves off at the end. She was asking a question, like, about how he, like, watching over him and watching over his story. It's like, was she talking about Virgil or Aeneas? I think she was talking about Virgil, because she would call Virgil her poet the whole way through the book. But she also could have been talking about Aeneas and like staying behind like with his grave or whatever. And I don't know. If you know, drop the answer down below in the comments. But yeah, it was definitely a solid 3.5, but Goodreads doesn't have 0.5 stars. So I rated it a 3 because it was closer to a 3 than a 4. Like, the chapters were a little confusing. I actually hadn't heard of Lavinia before. I vaguely looked over the Aeneid before though, so it was an interesting take on a classic. I'm always a sucker for those. I don't know why. But it was definitely a solid 3.5 stars. And why did I write down those thoughts? Because then I immediately started and I darken. Oh my god, it took me a hot second. And I darken, and I'm falling back into it, but I'm gonna save those thoughts for another video, because I'm going to be rereading the series, and I'll just do full series reread thoughts. So yeah, thank you guys for watching my video this week, and I hope to see you soon. Bye guys.